Welcome to another edition of the PHNX D-Backs podcast right here on PHNX. My name is Derek Montilla, occasionally known as Lourdes Gurriel Jr. That's what I'm going with this outfit. This man next to me, of course, is my vice mayor and your thunderstick, the one and only Jesse Friedman. Jesse, ski to you.
Ski to you as well.
There we go. And we getting greedy on today's show?
We're getting a little greedy.
Okay.
And yes, we are going to talk about whether the Diamondbacks could trade for a noteworthy starting pitcher.
Let's go.
Whether the degree of realism on this show might be a little bit
it's going to be
lesser than normal, but
I'm sure you're going to hate this.
We're also going to separate D-backs DH targets into tiers, which is something we've wanted to do for a while. We're of course expecting the Diamondbacks to still make an addition in that regard. And Derek is dressed up as Lourdes Gurriel from last Christmas.
Yeah, first of all, there's something I need to address here. This is the image that I'm replicating here a little bit. Here's Lourdes with his absolutely gorgeous family wearing the exact same holiday toucan jacket that I'm wearing. Now, to address the elephant in the room when it comes to where I got this jacket from. First, that's none of your business. Second, I just wanted to confirm I, in fact, have had this jacket for longer than Lourdes Gurriel Jr. has been a part of this team. This has been
wow.
This has been hanging in my closet for a minute, and I'm just proud that me and my purple hair twin both have the same exquisite taste in holiday dress wear, if you will, holiday formal wear.
Your purple hair today, however, is very fake. So.
I mean, you don't have to be pulling the curtain back too far, Jesse. By God. I mean, yeah.
It has a D-backs logo on it, Derek.
That's fine. It's fine. Ski to Connor in the chat. Great to see you. Great to see all of you. Chief Crazy Buffalo already here with the hot let's trade Pavin Smith for anything takes. I'm okay with that. But just so that Jesse can feel at comfort a little bit, we will talk about actual facts here first before we get into ranking DHs and talking about crazy trades for starting pitchers. And one of those facts is that a guy we were looking at as a potential target for the Snakes is now off the board. Tom Murphy went to the Giants on a 2-year, $8 million deal, which seems a little frustrating, Jesse, because 2 years, $8 million seemed like that would have been quite the steal for Tom Murphy, who, as we talked about in the past, might have been a good option for them both at DH and as a backup catcher.
Yeah, I guess the deal can max out at $12 million. So there's also a 2026 club option in here. So it's a very reasonable contract for sure. And for a guy that we talked about would make some sense on the Diamondbacks for sure. Right. Tom Murphy, his numbers while he was on the field in 2023 with the Seattle Mariners, very, very impressive. And he kind of looked like maybe an ideal candidate for the D-backs as someone who could DH a little bit, who could also serve as that backup catcher behind Gabriel Moreno that we know the Diamondbacks are looking for. But yeah, they're apparently going a different direction. And Tom Murphy is heading to San Francisco to be the backup catcher for one Patrick Bailey, another one of the exciting young catchers in this game. And Jack Summers in the chat he says his soul is crushed. Same at Tom Murphy signing elsewhere.
It's not just it crushes my soul because I feel like that was actually the deal that the Diamondbacks were looking for. Somebody that they could have signed to a $4 million a year deal that would have solved potentially two of their needs. Right now, maybe they're swinging for the fences, and maybe Tom Murphy is. Maybe it's below what the Diamondbacks are looking to add.
Yeah, I think that's probably what you have to hope here if you're a D-backs fan. We don't know exactly how much money they have left to spend, but I think we feel pretty confident that they can spend $4 million, which is, roughly what Murphy will make in 2024. So, yeah, maybe the D-backs are shooting higher than this, and, we're going to talk about some guys here momentarily that will cost a little bit more than that, and we're gonna kind of rank where
where they fall,
where they
think they
fall. Yeah.
But speaking of spending a lot of money, Yamamoto and the Yamamoto sweepstakes is kind of heating up. Right now, the Yankees have kind of emerged as a favorite potentially. And since that's the best case scenario for us, of course, that means he is in fact going to land with the Dodgers. Am I right?
Correct.
That's what.
Yes.
Because going to the Yankees again just takes him completely, just like I wanted with Ohtani, to just kind of be out of our atmosphere as much as possible. Yamamoto going to the Yankees would take him considerably away from any concerns the Diamondbacks had about facing him regularly. And then, again, for his talent, it would be great to not have him be part of the Dodgers starting lineup, or starting rotation, I should say.
Yeah, it does seem like he will be a Yankee. That's certainly, just looking at the reports out there,
Fingers
things
crossed.
seem to be trending in that direction. And as we've talked about before, the Yankees have been pretty aggressive this offseason in chasing after some of these guys. And I'm a little terrified personally to know what Yamamoto is going to get, because
they're saying it's over $300 million for sure.
Yeah, it might start with a 3, and then you've got the posting fees on top of that. Like, this is a guy that when free agency started, I think we all had maybe $200 million, maybe even including the posting fees in our heads. At least that's what I had in my head.
Yeah.
Now we're talking about like maybe $400 million, including posting fees for Yamamoto. I guess that's what happens when you have a guy who's 25 years old who projects as a frontline starting pitcher. That those guys don't really hit free agency very often. So I guess this is just the result of that.
And that makes sense, but it also just comes with that caveat, that risk that he's never pitched in the United States in Major League Baseball before.
It still seems outrageous.
It's just outrageous. That's the outrageous part. Like, when you're proven in this league, then it's different, right? And it's not to say, like we said, I feel like that entire stigma is kind of done as far as thinking players that played either in Japan or in Korea aren't on the same level as here in the United States, because as we've seen, they've produced some incredible athletes, and it's becoming more frequent now that those guys are making that jump from Korea, from Japan over here to the United States. Even in the cases, like we kind of saw this with guys coming out of Latin America and the Caribbean, and we have for years in baseball, right? It's these guys that kind of emerge. They're young, they're from a different country, and teams are willing to take a huge risk on them. But this is possibly one of the biggest. I mean, at one point we were talking about Yasiel Puig's deal being one of like the most kind of crazy deals to bring over some guy that was from a different country, including all of the posting fees and everything that you had to pay in regards to that. But this is big, and I think, again, whether it's a colossal failure or success, I would much rather see it happen in the AL East than potentially having it be just a huge win. And I mean, obviously, next year that would be crazy if he was on the Dodgers. But could you imagine if he is as good as people think he's going to be, and then you have him in a starting rotation along with Shohei Ohtani on the Dodgers? That just makes me sick. So yes, please go to the Yankees.
Yeah, I mean, the Dodgers if they got Yamamoto, the Dodgers 2025 rotation would just be ridiculous.
I don't want to talk
right?
about
I mean, Yamamoto, Walker Buehler, Shohei Ohtani,
Shut up, you're making me
and
sick.
Tyler Glass now.
No,
that seems a little much.
It's unfair.
Which is why, I mean, the Dodgers do not often spend at the very, very top of the market. Obviously, they did with Shohei Ohtani. That was a bit of an exception.
But that was also a history-making deferred payment situation where
that was also
that probably factored into how much money they were going to give him as well.
Sure. Yeah. So I still don't think I still would be surprised if the Dodgers landed Yamamoto when all is said and done. They just don't seem like the team that would decide to fork over this much money for a player who's so unproven. It doesn't feel Dodgers-esque to me from what we've seen from that front office over the last few years. But yeah, I guess we'll find out. Another
huge deal that could happen is Cody Bellinger landing somewhere. And according to reports, he's seeking $200 million plus. Is Cody Bellinger going to get over $200 million, Jesse?
He wants it. There's no question about that.
I also want to be paid $200 million.
There are many things that we want in life.
Damn it, I want $200 million.
Done.
All right, that boy.
I would be I think it'll be a little bit less than 200 is my gut feeling on this.
Mhm.
Cody Bellinger, the surface numbers make you think like, yeah, he probably should get $300 million, right?
Yeah.
Cody Bellinger's 28 years old. You look at his numbers in 2023 at 307, 356, 525. That's an 881 OPS. He can play solid defense in center field. He hit 26 homers. He stole 20 bases. Like, yeah, that's a $200 million player at least at age 28. But again, I know we've talked about this before. If you look at some of the underlying numbers with Cody Bellinger, there are some reasons to be concerned that the breakout season that we saw in 2023, not that it was all smoke and mirrors, but that it wasn't quite what it maybe looks like in the box score. And at this point, every front office is very much keyed into that. There's no front office that's not looking at those numbers and doesn't have a sense of like, okay, we should read beyond the 307 batting average and, the 525 slug. If you look at some of the hard hit numbers for Cody Bellinger, they are not that of an elite level hitter. They're that of a good hitter, but they're not that of an elite level hitter. So, my guess is under 200 million when all is said and done. But I wouldn't be surprised given the craziness of this market. It wouldn't shock me if it wound up a little bit north of that.
The Arizona Diamondbacks, as many of you know, bring back Lourdes Gurriel Jr. That's their latest move, at least. We're still waiting for that. That's still not official, right? But that is going to be, once we see it from the team, that's official.
Yeah, it hasn't. It has yet to be made. It has yet to be made official.
But everybody's talking about it. Seems like a good move by the Snakes, but another potential guy they could bring back. We've talked about it just a little bit. I think we maybe even talked about it more in our YouTube comments, but that's bringing back Tommy Pham. And we know at times Tommy Pham didn't put up the best numbers with this team. And it's not to say he's not capable of being at his best again next season, but Tommy Pham really is a vibes guy, right? Like there's just something about bringing back a guy like Tommy Pham that, again, much like what we're talking about, that you're getting as kind of an uncalculable dynamic with Gino coming over from the Seattle Mariners. We've heard he's just such a great locker room guy. And same thing with Lourdes. We know a lot of guys like Lourdes. He seems to keep things light and have a lot of fun. We know Tommy Pham had quite an impact on his teammates and just on the attitude of his team. It felt like this team kind of got a bit of a chip on their shoulder when they got Tommy over here. And I don't think that even though his numbers, his OPS plus and things like that with this team weren't great at times, I do think that there's a lot of benefit to bringing him back.
For sure. Yeah. And I think this just goes back to how much money the Diamondbacks have to spend, what they're willing to throw in on a DH. There is a world in which Tommy Pham is, the highest that you can shoot as far as that position goes. And that's pretty good. Like Tommy Pham was a better hitter than what the Diamondbacks would have in that spot otherwise. He's a clear improvement over the other options in that DH slot right now, assuming that Lourdes plays left field every day. So yeah, it would certainly still make sense. Would the Diamondbacks like to aim a little higher than that? I imagine they would, and I'm sure that fans maybe feel the same way. But yeah, I think Tommy Pham kind of endeared himself to not only his teammates but also the fan base a little bit. That he is a little bit of a peculiar personality at times. Talking with Tommy Pham in the clubhouse, you never quite know exactly what you're gonna get, but he's insightful and he clearly has developed leadership qualities kind of in his own way. And from everything that we can tell, Diamondbacks, his teammates certainly enjoyed having him around. So I think it could make some sense, even though it's not really an ideal option on paper.
And I don't think that he's the best option if that's who they're bringing back as a DH. And Jack Summers, again, very timely with his comments here. He says, Pham abysmal as DH, 152 and low 500s OPS. And that's definitely a good reason not to look to Pham for to solve your DH issue, for sure. I feel like that would be more bringing Tommy Pham just kind of to mix in with the outfield to he would DH at times, but if they don't get an actual true DH, they're not going to have one guy have that spot anyway. I mean, it does bring back a piece of your team that was valuable at times, but yeah, Jack's right. If that's who you're relying on for your DH, then that's definitely not an improvement from last year. And I know that that's what the Diamondbacks are looking to do. So in the spirit of that, we are going to go ahead and rank the available free agent designated hitters on the market right now, based on our favorite thing. The S, are we calling this the S tier? It's the S tier. It's
I mean, the S
system.
tier is just the top
It's the tier. It's a tier maker system. So here we're gonna take a look here at the tier maker and decide on which of the free agents on the market at designated hitter we would rank at these different tiers here. So Jesse, do we want to start at the bottom? Do we want to start at the top? What are you thinking here?
I guess maybe we just go left to right with the players at the bottom.
Okay.
And we just kind of go one by one.
All right.
So at the far left, we have one Adam Duvall, who I'm not totally. I was a little hesitant to even include him here because I think he was more of a outfield solution than a DH solution. He still has some defensive value, so I'm not sure that it would make sense to bring him in when you already have coverage in the outfield and you don't necessarily need someone who plays outfield. But I guess you can never have too much depth in that regard. Having someone who can do that as well.
Torrey loves depth. He loves giving guys days off. He loves never using the same starting lineup 2 days in a row. That's for sure. So I think that value that you're talking about kind of wouldn't that give him a little bit more value here as a DH due to his versatility? Because he's not going to be just a DH.
The Diamondbacks, I talked with Mike Hazen about this at the winter meetings. Something he said a couple of times. In a DH, they would like to have someone who has the ability to give them some coverage in the field. It's not a necessity. Mike said it is not a deal breaker, but it is something that they would like. And outfield and first base are the specific positions that he pointed to. And I imagine catcher, and, maybe there's a world in which, we're going to talk about Mitch Garver in a second. If you get a DH who can give you some coverage there, that could be helpful as well. So what are we feeling here? What are we feeling here with Adam Duvall there?
I am taking a look at Adam Duvall's numbers. He had some pretty good numbers last year. He slashed 247, 303, 531 with 21 home runs and 58 RBI, and didn't play that much to put up those kind of numbers, but he's 35 years old. So I feel like if we're talking about age impacting it and maybe impacting the deal, I'd probably put him at a B tier here. And I think that's just due to the versatility and, again, achieving that goal that Mike Hazen could be seeking of having a guy that not only plays DH, but can also back them up in the outfield. I would maybe lean towards C on Adam Duvall. Okay, that's fair.
I'm thinking C as well.
C.
Damon says C. Yeah, we'll go with C, I guess. He had a 119 OPS plus in 2023, which is quite good.
Yeah,
I think some of the expected numbers were a step below that. But he's 35 years old and he's kind of had some ups and downs. Correct. 2023 was a really good season for him, but you look before that and he hasn't really been that guy super consistently. So
109 OPS plus over the last 3 seasons.
Yeah,
which tells a little bit more about him over that span rather than just last year's numbers.
Right. I think it's 103. Yeah, I think it's 103.
Yeah.
So yeah, 103 OPS plus over the last few seasons. He's shown himself to be a slightly above average hitter. I'm not sure you want to expect much more than that. I think he's kind of similar to Tommy Pham in some ways. So we'll go with C on Adam Duvall.
Mitch Garver is next there on the list. And again, Mitch Garver, there's a lot of things to like about Mitch Garver when it comes to, again, his versatility and trying to fill that role that the Diamondbacks are looking for. He could be a backup catcher to Gabby as well as fill that DH hole. And he had some pretty damn good numbers himself last year and has continued to do so over the last few seasons.
Damon wants Mitch Garver an S.
No, absolutely.
I've been warming up to Mitch Garver, but I'm fine with A.
We're not doing A either. We're not doing A either.
We're not doing it. Wow. Okay. All right, Derek. You want to put him in D? Is that what you think?
Yes. Let's.
You think that little of Mitch Garver?
Let's do him in D. No. He had a 270 batting average last year.
Crazy?
270, 370, 500. Are you crazy? You wanted him in S, Damon.
He's
Wake up.
The third best player on this list. Maybe fourth, depending on how Hoskins comes back.
The durability is a big question with Mitch Garver.
So is it with Soler, though.
Yeah, I mean, there are durability questions with a number of these guys. I mean, some of them are
Justin
basically
Turner's going to be 40 before this contract's up.
So I feel good about putting Mitch Garver in the A tier, I think. S tier feels a little much just given that there are such durability questions here. Mitch Garver, if you look at his past few seasons, it's not just that, in 2023, he had trouble staying on the field. That's kind of been a thing for him just about every season in the big leagues. He played 87 games this year. He played 54 in 2022. He played 68 in 2021. He has never played more than 102 games in his major league career. And maybe just moving him to full-time DH where he doesn't have to worry about catching at all, maybe that helps. But part of his value also would probably be being able to contribute on the catching side of things. So
they wouldn't move him. I don't think they'd move any player to full-time DH. There are
some guys on this
that's
list
true.
that you kind of have
Turner
to move to full-time
Justin
DH.
Turner again is not.
You don't want JD Martinez roaming around the outfield.
That's very true.
Said earlier.
And for that reason, that gives Mitch Garver definitely the edge as far as versatility, right? Like that being able to be that backup catcher. So I'll allow it to go.
You'll allow him to be in the A tier,
but you guys are ridiculous. You're S tier shit here. All right, then what else? Who else is next there?
We have looks like Rhys Hoskins next on the list.
Interesting, considering Rhys Hoskins missed all of last season.
Yes,
but outside of that, he has been an incredibly good player in baseball, and I think that again, maybe that absence is why you don't think of him as often, but Rhys at 30 years old still has a lot left in the tank.
Yeah, I mean, you think so, you hope so, right?
So.
I mean, he was out for the entire 2023 season, as you said, so there is some, there's some lack of assurance here for sure. But I am pretty in on Rhys Hoskins, I would say. I think that he's been a very consistent hitter in the majors. He's been a good hitter every single season, and not just good, like a little above average good, but good, like pretty like a middle of the lineup type hitter good. In his last full season, 2022, he hit 246, 332, 462, 30 homers. That was in almost 700 plate appearances, an OPS plus of 123. His OPS plus over his past 3 seasons that he's played is 127, also a really good number. I'm feeling A or maybe B. I could go either way on this one.
I would lean towards B. But the only reason why is, again, because of the unknown and not knowing how he's going to perform after, missing all of last season. Baseball is just a fickle game like that. You can never know if a guy is going to be the same player he was. The one thing he definitely has going for him, though, throughout his career is consistency. I feel like if the Diamondback and he's had power. 30 home runs and 79 RBI in 672 plate appearances is nothing to sneeze at, right?
No.
But that's right on par with Christian Walker. I feel like the bigger thing here, though, is his consistency, and I don't know if the Diamondbacks have a bat as consistent as he's shown to have in the past. So, but yeah, I'm down with the B tier for that one.
I'll allow it.
Thank you. I appreciate that. All right. S, moving on. Just JD Martinez.
JD Martinez goes
tier.
straight to S.
What are we doing? If he's not, what are we doing here? I mean, in 479 plate appearances, the man had 33 home runs and 103 RBI. And it felt like the Dodgers didn't even need that production from him. It felt like it was just a casual year of hitting 100 RBI and 33 home runs in 479 plate appearances. The man's a beast. I think, again, you address the only concern, I think, is that that's all you're getting out of him. You are literally just getting a designated hitter. But I don't care. I want him.
Yeah, I feel like the vibes would just be so good if the Diamondbacks landed JD Martinez. And I think that's what puts him into the S tier for me. I'm cool with him being in the S tier. 134 OPS plus in 2023. That's as good as anyone on this list. Mitch Garver did actually tie that. He was also at 134 this past season.
He was more efficient and less plate appearances, but he didn't have anywhere close to the RBIs and home runs. But again,
Mitch Garver didn't play as many games. Like JD Martinez missed some time. But yeah, as you said, I mean, even with missing almost 50 games, he was still pretty darn productive and had an OPS right around 900. That's a pretty perfect bat to put in the middle of the lineup. There are some weird things happening over at Steamer on FanGraphs. They have their little projection system thing, and they think that JD Martinez is going to be a very mediocre hitter in 2024, which I don't really understand. I think it's a 106 WRC plus that it projects for Martinez in 2024, which I find to be quite bizarre. I guess maybe it has to do with Martinez's strikeout rate, which we've talked about before. It's quite high in this past season. But yeah, I'm okay putting Martinez in the S tier. There are some questions as he continues to age, but the vibes would be too immaculate to not put him there.
Derek, when was the last time that you turned off the lights and pulled up JD Martinez's Baseball Savant page?
What time is it right now?
1:27.
So about 4.5 hours. I don't see the problem here. I don't understand why you're even asking me this question. You guys know. It's hard not to be a Diamondbacks fan and still remember that magical half a season we had of JD Martinez. So like Jesse said, the vibes are just off the charts with JD coming back to the Diamondbacks.
All right. Well, speaking of S tier guys, we have Andrew McCutchen up next.
Don't you absolutely not. Don't you dare. I don't even know why he's on this list. What are we doing here?
Yeah, maybe Andrew McCutchen doesn't belong in S tier. I get the sense that he's probably just going to go back to the Pirates because it's sort of riding off into the sunset with the team you started with, all the good storyline vibes. We get it. But we did talk about him on this show as someone that would fit reasonably well if he were willing to come to a team like the Diamondbacks. We talked up his 378 on base percentage and the fact that that's pretty cool. And no one else on this list had an on base percentage that high. Although Mitch Garver did get pretty close. Shout out Damon. But but yeah, I think that we can't put McCutchen B or higher. He clearly at this stage of his career, being 39 years old, I mean, impressive what he's able to do at this age. But moving forward, he is pretty much a DH at this point, and it kind of feels like the wheels could come off at any point with a guy like this. So Derek, I guess I'm leaving you the choice between C or D. Where do we want to put Andrew McCutchen?
I'm going D just because I think the thing you said made the most sense is that he's not leaving Pittsburgh. Like, I don't think anybody's going to value him the way the Pirates are for him to come back and finish his season there. It's more of a story. It's more of a good feeling. And I mean, the Pirates are a young, exciting team that they showed some promise last year. So they're not exactly in the area of like, oh, hey, let's just do something for the memories. But, he still has value and he still has been able to play the game at a high level. So it's not to say like you're throwing it away. It just, this kind of is why I was surprised the Diamondbacks re-signed Lourdes Gurriel was the opposite, right? It's like, I thought the Diamondbacks valued Lourdes, but I also thought some other team would value him just more based on those, not the in-depth stats, but the big things, the All-Star appearance, making it to the World Series, everything he did. Like, I just felt like this would be one of those guys that, that someone would have overpaid for. Luckily, the Diamondbacks brought him back, and it wasn't too unreasonable for them to bring him back. With McCutchen, it's the opposite with the home team. Like, I just feel like he means more to the Pirates than he's going to end up meaning to another team at this stage in his career. Like you said, 39 years old, still good OPS plus 113.
Yeah, 113 OPS plus. Like, shout out Andrew McCutchen, mad respect for what he's been able to do at this stage in his career. He doesn't ever chase pitches out of the zone. His plate discipline is immaculate, and that's really the way that he's able to do what he does. But yeah, for the D-backs, I don't think McCutchen is really going to want to go anywhere outside of Pittsburgh, and for the D-backs, they might want someone a little more reliable.
You know who else has a great chase rate, Jesse?
Who we talking about?
Mitch Garver.
Mitch
98th
Garver.
percentile.
Yeah,
no big deal.
There you go.
Why don't you just marry Mitch Garver already? All right,
I might.
Just go marry him. Who else we got? He was on the Rangers. You guys are stabbing me in the back. Tommy Pham in a Mets jersey? We couldn't have found Tommy Pham in a Diamondbacks jersey? What the hell, David?
ESPN didn't update his headshot, so we got what we got.
All right. Well, I think Jack Summers' message earlier conveys my similar feeling. I would like Tommy Pham back, but just not as a DH, and I think that his numbers don't really warrant him playing DH, but he still had pretty good, decent numbers, 111 OPS plus last year. He slashed 256, 328, 446 with 16 home runs, 68 RBI, one short of being nice, in 481 plate appearances. Last 3 seasons, though, he's been a league average player, literally 100 OPS plus.
Yeah. This feels like probably a C to me. Fits in that Adam Duvall tier.
Agreed.
I think pretty clearly below Rhys Hoskins, who we have in B, Mitch Garver, who we have in A, and JD Martinez, who we have in S.
Yeah, but definitely an advantage here to the Diamondbacks bringing him back again, similar to the unspoken advantage of Lourdes coming back, which is just being part of the team. There's something to be said about bringing back pieces of this team that made it as far as they did last year, and having that cohesion as a unit. Connected team's a dangerous team. I don't know if you've ever heard that quote before, but
I feel like
it's a favorite quote of mine.
I feel like it's disrespectful for us to have Andrew McCutchen on this list, but not Joey Votto. I know that their 2023 seasons were kind of in different places. I was specifically looking at right-handed hitters because it seems like that's the more likely route.
Sure.
But shout out Joey Votto, although he would probably be, if we had an F tier, Joey Votto might be in the F tier.
The disrespect.
Those numbers in 2023 were pretty rough, even though obviously the person, is someone, as far as clubhouse guys, I don't know if you can do much better than that.
Yeah, no, you're right about that. But we got 3 more names on the board. The next one, Jorge Soler, I believe, is the next up. And man, what a big addition he would still be at this point for this team. I'm not sure. I like someone else asked earlier if the Diamondbacks were out of the Yamamoto sweepstakes. Yes, they absolutely are. But
that would be a plot twist.
That would be a plot twist. But I kind of think, honestly, what they did with Lourdes does take them out of potentially trading for Randy Arozarena or some of those other things we talked about. Jorge Soler could be still an option for them. I don't feel like he's that out of range. And his numbers last year weren't exactly fantastic, right? I mean, he had some power. The power though,
pretty good. They were pretty good.
Is what we're looking for there, right? But I mean, Jorge again is that power bat that the Diamondbacks can absolutely be looking to add into the middle of their lineup.
Feels like a B to me. 250, 341, 512, solid slash line in 2023. He's 31 years old. Probably looking at a 3-year deal here, a little longer than most other guys on this list. He did hit 36 dingers in 2023, a 128 OPS plus, but he's been pretty inconsistent. That's the main knock here for me. Why I wouldn't put him higher, even though his 2023 numbers were pretty high. So I'd stick him in that B tier.
We think B, seriously? I was thinking A for Soler.
It's just a consistency thing. Over his last 3 seasons, his OPS plus is only 109. It's actually not that good. He was traded from the Royals to the Braves, I believe, in 2022. And he was not at all good for the Royals, but the moment he arrived in Atlanta, he suddenly was very good. And the season prior to that, he was not a productive. I'm getting that mixed up. So 2021 was the year where he was with the Royals, traded to the Braves, was not good with the Royals, was very good with the Braves. Overall was basically league average. And then in 2022, he had a 95 OPS plus. He was a below average hitter. So there's just some consistency questions here for me. That's why, I think Mitch Garver has some consistency questions too, but I think I would probably lean toward putting Soler in the B tier.
Some injury concerns as well.
Yeah, that too.
B is our injury.
Our injury tier.
The injury bucket.
Yeah. We don't know what we're going to get out of you, but we think you could still hit.
I'm not quite sure how Mitch Garver escaped the injury bucket, but
that doesn't feel right.
Because I'm getting buttons back here, Jesse.
Damon's the ones on the 1 and 2s over there.
Because I'm God.
All right,
we're almost there. Justin Turner.
What do we think? Oh, this one's rough. Justin Turner, I don't mean to be ageist, but that immediately has to impact 39 years old. The wheels have to fall off at some point here. I could speak from experience on that, but still putting up just incredible numbers. For being the oldest guy on this list, he hit 276, 345, 455 last year in 23 home runs, with 23 home runs, 96 RBI. And he played a lot, 626 plate appearances. So, I know that's the OPS plus, 114 OPS plus last year, 118 OPS plus over the last 3 seasons. So you kind of know what you're getting out of him. You might be regressing a little bit, but obviously I think a big benefit here is that Justin Turner is probably going to be on a short-term deal and most likely isn't going to cost you nearly as much as a JD Martinez, but I still feel like his name is his career. You're paying for experience there. You're paying for a lot. I think that he's still going to get more money than potentially a 40-year-old DH deserves at this point. Plus, he's going to get a lot of money there, right, from the Boston Red Sox. Still, that's still crazy to me.
Yeah. The Red Sox are going to pay him like almost $7 million to play somewhere else.
Feels like a B tier guy.
Yeah, it feels like a B to me. Although I do think like Soler and Hoskins also being in that B tier, those guys I would expect to be better hitters probably than in 2024 than Turner. But
sure.
Yeah, Turner I think is a step up over Tommy Pham, Adam Duvall in that tier below. So yeah, let's go Justin Turner and B. And then to finish things off, we have someone who we haven't talked about at all on this show.
Nope.
It is Eloy Jimenez, who is a last-minute addition to our tier list here, someone I decided to throw in. A guy who makes probably more money than he should as a member of the Chicago White Sox, and someone that I think could be available in a trade where maybe the White Sox pick up a little bit of his salary, the D-backs send over a prospect or two, someone where the acquisition cost I don't think is super high. And he has had some pretty good seasons recently. 2023 wasn't great. He hit 272, 317, 441, a 104 OPS plus, so just a little bit above average. But over the last 3 seasons, that number is 114. He was exceptionally good when he was on the field in 2022. So yeah, a guy that on the trade market that I think is at least worth considering here.
27 years old. Feels a bit like Jorge Soler with the Royals and what you were describing, right? Where like it feels like he could go somewhere else that maybe coached him a bit better, maybe that he cared a bit better. I know that the White Sox organization was all over the place last season. So, I mean, I can understand players being a little checked out, a little disinterested, not playing their best baseball.
Yeah.
I still feel like they're like,
uh-oh. we talk about a member of the White Sox and Herb shows up in the chat.
He says, do it. He says, take him off our hands. Oh, man. I still remember seeing him for the first time in a spring training game. And my God, did he hit the ball harder than I think I've ever seen any human being ever hit the ball before, Jesse. Like, he was a monster in spring training.
He one of those guys who got an extension before he played a game in the big leagues. So this contract, which now, like, it's not awful, but I wouldn't say he's really lived up to it. He was like basically a replacement level player in 2023. If you play him in the outfield, he doesn't provide a whole lot of value. Yeah. Probably best served as a DH. But yeah, there is some ceiling here. We've seen Eloy Jimenez have seasons where he was very, very, very good. So you're kind of just hoping that, you trade away a couple prospects, you maybe get the White Sox to take a portion of the salary, and you're hoping you kind of catch lightning in a bottle and get one of those really good seasons from Eloy Jimenez when he's still pretty young. I mean, 27 years old. He's still, he's a lot younger than a lot of other guys on this list. That's for sure.
And I think that's the big thing is he fits the timeline. And if they're going to go out and sign one of these guys to a multi-year deal or trade for him and have somebody have a multi-year deal, that he would make a lot of sense. But we still don't know what we're going to get out of him. There's a lot of questions there. And again, last season, a 104 OPS plus definitely isn't worth the money that he is getting paid. So I don't know necessarily if that's a reflection of the player that he is going to be or could potentially be with a different team. But I think there's a lot of potential there. Are we going C tier here? Are we going B tier? I mean, he seems pretty young and talented to put below.
B, no, can't
C.
be B. Yeah, I think it's probably C.
Yeah, that's what
I feel like we're just totally disrespecting Andrew McCutchen by putting him down there. When
we absolutely are.
Definitely had a better season than some of these other guys.
Do we want to move Tommy down there just so he's not lonely? You know what, Damon, do it. Move Tommy down there. Sorry, Tommy.
Now you're disrespecting Tommy Pham by putting him down there too.
That's a man you do not disrespect. We know that based on history, but I just didn't want
Per Jason Mackey, The Pirates just re-signed Andrew McCutchen 5 minutes ago.
Wow.
We did it, Jesse. We figured it.
1 year, $5 million for Andrew McCutchen.
Yep. Take him
All
off
right,
the board.
so I guess we take
just
him off
take
the
him off
board
the
then?
board, delete him. He's gone. Can we delete him? No, he has to stay there now.
He's stuck.
Sorry, you're
All right, let's move. I feel like we have to move Tommy Pham back up
That's fine.
because Andrew McCutchen has his partner.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, I
he's
get
back with the Pirates.
Yeah,
he's
no.
home.
Yeah.
He's not lonely.
No, we'll put him on C.
Yeah,
We'll
we'll
to
put Tommy
C.
Pham back up to C.
There we go. All
All right, so I guess we just don't have anyone in the D tier.
Because
All
we're
right.
nice guys.
We're
We're
nice
good guys,
yeah.
Jesse. We try not to hurt people's feelings. Right? Does that feel good?
I mean, we try.
We do
you know?
try to. I try to hurt your feelings every single day. We know that for a fact. But interested to see which of these guys the Diamondbacks go after. And of course, we know that the right answer here is JD Martinez. So let's just get that deal done today. That would be great. We'll do emergency pod if that could happen. We'll appreciate that. Speaking of emergency pods and all sorts of wonderful transactions, make sure to check out our friends at Desert Financial Credit Union. First of all, they are the kings of our transactions, and they for more than 84 years have been Arizona's largest, most trusted local credit union, dedicated to creating exceptional experiences by giving back to the community and to their customers. Of course, they got me started on my home ownership journey, and they can get you started as well. Look to Desert Financial for checking and savings accounts, mortgages, loans, credit cards, investment options, and more. When you open a free checking account online right now, you can get $200 in bonuses. Get started by visiting desertfinancial.com/200. Let's see. Jack says, what about zagging and sign a lefty with power, Jock Peterson?
Yeah, I thought
Jack,
about
what
the
are you
lefties.
doing?
I thought about the lefties. Jock Peterson. Someone on Twitter is angry that Brandon Belt was not on the list.
Yeah.
I get it. I
I
just
hate Brandon Belt.
I know
man.
you do.
I
We all
think
do.
I
We
would
all
be
do.
surprised if the D-backs went left-handed with this. It wouldn't be an outrageous decision. I mean, their lineup is kind of stacked with righties at this point, but I would be fairly surprised if they went lefty.
Well, one way we can help out is with our Arizona Lottery scratcher tickets. I mean, I don't feel like I should have to contribute my winnings to the Diamondbacks, but if it means getting JD Martinez, I happily will, Jesse. I happily will, because we're going to take a look into the future. We're going to take a look into the snow globe to see what the Diamondbacks might be cooking as far as starting pitching candidates. But of course, right now is your time to go get some Arizona Lottery holiday scratchers from Arizona Lottery. Make it. They make great last minute shopping gifts. They make great stocking stuffers. Jesse, the procrastinator over here, I know he is going to get some on his way over to my house when we sell, or wherever we're going to Texas Roadhouse, I think is where we're going to have our Arizona PHNX Diamondbacks Christmas party. But he'll stop on the way and get some scratchers. You can too, whatever party you're going to. If you don't have a gift, scratchers start at just $1 and can top out at $500,000. So make sure to pick up some holiday scratchers right now. You can get them to anybody, whether they were naughty or nice on your list. But remember, $500,000. Might just want to give one to the nice ones on your list. Go out and buy your holiday scratchers today. Find a retailer like our friends at Circle K near you at ArizonaLottery.com. Must be 21 years or older to play. And now I'm going to go ahead and scratch this while Jesse tells you about if the Diamondbacks went out and traded for Dylan Cease. Why not? Why not? Who says no?
It's going to happen, Derek. It's going to happen. Everyone knows it. No. Will the Diamondbacks actually make a move for a top-tier starting pitcher at this point? Seems unlikely. They already got their guy in Eduardo Rodriguez. It feels like they were already shooting pretty high when they landed him.
But I want to be greedy.
Yeah,
I want more.
But the Diamondbacks have yet to make a trade where they really expended any kind of serious assets, right? Eugenio Suarez, that deal, it just took Sebi Zavala and Carlos Vargas. D-backs have not traded from the top of their farm system. Presumably, they do have the assets if they wanted to make a run at a Dylan Cease, at a Corbin Burns, at a Shane Bieber, guy who would probably cost a little bit less. And Mike Hazen has talked about wanting to continue to add to pitching, to starting pitching. I don't see that as being likely. I don't see that as their top priority. What we were just talking about with this right-handed DH stuff.
Well,
I think
it almost
this is
can't
clearly
be
taking precedent. But
if they do, I mean, they have other needs, and like starting pitching is actually something that they technically have enough of right now, right? It would be nice to continue to upgrade and get better at starting pitching,
right?
But they don't need that as much as literally being in need of a DH.
They need a DH. Yes.
They need a backup catcher.
Yeah, absolutely. Those are things that they need more than they need a starting pitcher. This would be a get greedy, like, let's, try to take down the Dodgers sort of a, it would be the D-backs really trying to push in the chips on these next couple of seasons. And, we've talked about the merits of doing that. When you only have Zach Gallen and Merrill Kelly under team control for a couple more seasons, there is something to be said for trying to go a little crazy here.
2 timelines. You got to have 2 timelines. You got to have that shorter timeline, and then you have the longer timeline of how are you going to keep those 23-year-olds here happy and getting better every season and helping them win in the long term once you potentially do lose your ace or your aces due to free agency.
Are you done?
I'm not done yet. I'm taking my time with this one because I want to see. I got a couple of spots. A couple of things are cooking here. About halfway through here, but we can go ahead and talk about who you want to give up for Dylan Cease so that everybody can get mad at you and not me.
Well, I do want to go back real quick to the Jock Peterson concept because
I don't want to do
I'm
that
realizing that if we had Jock Peterson on this list, he probably would have wound up in the same tier as Tommy Pham. And that just would have been hilarious and amazing. So that was a serious missed opportunity on our part to not have their 2 faces right next to each other. But yeah.
And you guys say I'm the troublemaker. He's the real troublemaker around here.
Keep working, Derek.
Sorry,
oh my gosh.
God.
You're like the kid who keeps talking and won't finish his food or something.
It's a lot of concentration going on when scratching.
But yeah, I think as far as a starting pitcher is concerned, it's certainly not something that the Diamondbacks absolutely need, but it is something that theoretically they would have the assets to do it if they wanted to. And I imagine that, the money that you would take back in a Dylan Cease trade and a Corbin Burnes trade, that certainly would butt into what you're able to do in other areas. Maybe that makes it so that you'd have to, you'd have to compromise a little bit as far as adding that other right-handed bat. Maybe you have to, you have to be more in that C or D tier range rather than near the top of the list if you were to make one of these moves. But I think it's just something worth mentioning. I don't expect the D-backs to do something like this, especially like the Dylan Cease, Corbin Burnes variety. That just seems a little unrealistic. But, we've seen Mike Hazen time and time again acquire starting pitchers that have a lot of control. The Luke Weaver thing, the Zach Gallen thing, of course. And you can just sort of never count Mike Hazen out from doing something like that. He really likes to add starting pitchers that are controllable if he has an opportunity. And I doubt that he will, but it's not something that is impossible.
Jack's trying to have a real wild clubhouse. He said maybe they should sign both to platoon at DH, meaning Tommy Pham and Jock Peterson, just to bring them both in the same clubhouse. Yes, I want to be a part of that fantasy football league for sure. But
they're platoon partners. That's amazing.
I mean, Dylan Cease obviously is an incredible pitcher and kind of the talk of the trade world a bit. It feels like there's the free agents, there's the big money pitchers out there, but then you also have Dylan Cease that constantly is kind of in the mix. When you look at his 2023 stats, they don't jump off the page at being this guy that everybody should be interested. Am I wrong about that?
No, I mean, yeah, 4.58 ERA. There's nothing all that attractive about that when you first see it. But yeah, it's because of the swing and miss. I mean, he had a FIP in the 3.7s. Strikeout rate of 27.3% is really high for a starting pitcher. I think there's a belief here that Dylan Cease is better than these numbers show, and we've certainly seen him be significantly better.
And then there's that mustache, Jesse.
And then there's the mustache.
Oh
and that,
God.
more than anything else, is the best argument for the Diamondbacks to acquire Dylan Cease. So
his mustache is why I have a mustache, kind of.
I'd give up an extra trade prospect
For the
because
mustache?
of the mustache.
Because of the mustache. Yeah.
Going to take too much to get him? Do the Diamondbacks have enough assets to get a guy like Dylan Cease?
Yes. But I mean,
it's going to cost too much.
But the D-backs have a lot of tremendously valuable trade assets. Do they have assets that people will actually be willing to give up? That's another question. And I suspect the answer is no. You're not trading Brandon Pfaadt in this deal. You're not trading, any of the Diamondbacks' young kind of cornerstone pieces. Those guys are out of the question. Alec Thomas, I guess, maybe someone that the White Sox would be interested in on some level. But yeah, we've talked about Dylan Cease before as a trade candidate going back to the trade deadline, and it was never super clear to me exactly what the fit was here. If the D-backs don't trade Jordan Lawler, it's a little hard to see it happening, and I don't think they would trade Jordan Lawler for Dylan Cease. So, yeah, these top tier guys in the market, it seems like the cost is just going to be too high.
Well, there are some other candidates, and they might not cost as much. Maybe. I don't know.
Dylan Cease is 2 years of control.
That's the biggest thing is the years of control.
Corbin Burns is just 1.
And Corbin Burns, of course, is Corbin Burns. If the Diamondbacks truly are all in on next year, trading for Corbin Burns feels like the move. I mean, that it really just does, because Corbin Burns, honestly, it makes this the best starting rotation in baseball. Does it not make it the best starting rotation in baseball? Am I crazy to say that?
If they got Corbin Burns?
If they added Corbin Burns to Eduardo Rodriguez, Zach Gallen, Merrill Kelly, Brandon Pfaadt, those 5 from fucking 1 to 5, find me a better rotation in baseball. Am I wrong? Am I crazy?
It would easily be the best in baseball, I'd argue.
The Mariners. Luis Castillo, George Kirby, Logan Gilbert, Brian Wu, Bryce
That's
Miller.
Really good.
And they're getting Robbie Ray back at some point.
Yeah, they are
Tommy
getting
John surgery.
Yeah, if he is what he was for Toronto, my God,
it'd be close though. I don't know. I mean,
good.
I think there's maybe a debate to be had there.
Sure.
Yeah,
Sure.
and that's why you would do something like this. I mean, you would be like, all right, we're not just satisfied having a solid rotation where it works and we have more depth and we feel better. We want to have like the freaking best rotation in baseball, or like close to it, right?
That's it.
That's what this move would be. And I do feel skeptical that the Diamondbacks feel the need to do that right now. But, I mean, there's something to be said for going crazy after you're in the World Series and you're trying to do the thing again, knowing that Zach Gallen and Merrill Kelly might not be here for all that long. So
let's take a look. I'm behind here. Let's take a look at Corbin Burns.
Yeah, we haven't actually showed the numbers.
3.39 ERA in 2023, 25.4% strikeout rate, 8.4% walk, a 1.07 WHIP. Just incredible numbers. 3.4 wins above replacement. And I mean, again, just a guy that has been an absolute killer. This is a man that was very unhappy with the organization he was with, and he still went out there and did that for that team in 2023. I don't want to say he's a professional. I don't want to say that had any impact on it, right? But He went out there, and in the face of all of his feelings about arbitration and everything he went through with the Brewers, that man still went out there and performed at an elite level and was one of the best pitchers in the game last year. So all I'm saying is, imagine what those numbers look like when he's happy in Arizona.
There you go.
Working with Brent Strom, chilling with Zach Gallen.
He doesn't have to face Corbin Carroll again in the wild card series, right?
Yeah, that's nobody wants to do that. Nobody wants to do that.
This was like almost a down season for Corbin Burns, frankly.
That's true.
I mean, 3.39 ERA, obviously really good, but he's been doing sub threes for, several years in a row prior to this. So he got off to a bit of a slow start. And at the end of the season, you look up and Corbin Burns has 200 strikeouts and almost 200 innings. And there's only one season of control here. So you'd think the price would be maybe a little bit lower than Dylan Cease.
Sure.
It sounds like the Brewers are increasingly inclined to just hold on to Corbin Burns, maybe revisit this at the trade deadline. But he's a name that's out there.
Another name that's out there that could also make the Diamondbacks starting rotation very, very good and arguably one of the best in baseball is Shane Bieber. Shane Bieber had, again, he didn't pitch as much as some of these other guys in 2023, but still had himself a pretty good year last year. 3.80 ERA, 20.1 strikeout rate, 6.4% walk rate, 1.23 WHIP, and 2.1 wins above replacement. Shane Bieber, again, which of these guys do you think actually could be we know this is stretching for all three guys. Which of these guys could actually be reasonable as far as the trade assets and the cost that it's going to take to get them?
Bieber is definitely the most realistic. Yeah. And the Guardians are kind of a quirky team to trade with because, I don't know, I feel like the Guardians, they're like, give us your second baseman who, like has, is like a utility guy who can play different positions but has never really hit much. Like
Are
they're
you saying
just
Pavin Smith? Are you saying Pavin Smith could be involved in this deal?
I don't know if Pavin Smith would be the
Oh,
centerpiece of
man.
the Shane Bieber trade,
You know
but
what would be awesome is if they added him to the trade and then removed him like the way that they did during the playoffs every time they burned him as a pinch hitter. That would be incredible.
that'd be very sad. But yeah, there's again just one season of control here with Shane Bieber.
Yeah.
As someone said in the comments, the stuff is down for sure. He doesn't throw 94 anymore. He's more of a low 90s guy. He's not a Cy Young caliber pitcher at this stage. But could he be a solid addition to the rotation in 2024? And push some of those younger starters down.
Yeah.
You figure you're still going to see Tommy Henry. You're still going to see Ryan Nelson. The D-backs, even if they got another starting pitcher, would still have to use those guys. You can't get through a full season with just 5 starting pitchers. So it'd be just kind of a depth play. And you could, I think it would make some sense for them. I imagine the Guardians are asking a pretty high price on Bieber, just given the name credibility there and his history as being a very, very good starter in this league. But he's only 28 years old, and he could certainly make some sense.
Well, I wish we could go on BetMGM right now and bet on which of these guys the Diamondbacks are going to get. I would love to see the odds on that. But
hesitant to bet on,
on Cease or any of those guys.
There are better things to put your money on.
There definitely are.
Like getting one of those starting
like
pitchers.
JD Martinez. But of course, there are lots of great options over at the BetMGM Sportsbook app. And right now, you can sign up as a new customer and deposit at least $10 into your sportsbook account using our code of PHNX. Place your first wager, and if your wager loses, you will get up to $1,500 back in bonus bets. If it does lose, your bonus bets will be available once your initial wager is settled. But all you got to do is sign up for BetMGM today and use that bonus code of PHNX. Place your first BetMGM Sportsbook wager through the mobile application of at least $10. If that bet loses, your bonus bets will be available once your initial wager is settled. Check out the show notes for full details. And now listen to Shane Diefenbach, not Bieber, talk about the disclaimer.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Colorado, D.C., Illinois, Indiana, Kansas, Louisiana, Maryland, Mississippi, New Jersey, Nevada, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, Virginia, West Virginia, Wyoming. Call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369 New York. Call 1-800-327-5050 Massachusetts. 21 plus to wager. Please gamble responsibly. Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP Arizona. 1-800-BETS-OFF Iowa. 1-800-270-7117 for confidential help Michigan. 1-800-981-0023 Puerto Rico in partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. U.S. promotional offers not available in D.C., New York, or Ontario.
Ontario.
Well, of course, if you don't want to travel all the way to Ontario for a vacation, a great way to have a staycation is here in town at Gila River Resorts and Casinos, because nobody does it better. They offer an authentic and immersive experience when it comes to entertainment, when it comes to enjoying yourself, when it comes to fine dining and gaming. They got you covered. They have an unprecedented level of entertainment and excitement that you won't find anywhere else here in the Valley. And of course, their state-of-the-art gaming floor has it all, with over 800 slot machines, 15 blackjack tables, and live table games, not to mention Arizona's largest sports book here in the Valley. Now, Jesse, I got to admit, I'm a big live gaming person, right?
Yes.
And that's not something that you used to be able to find here in the Valley so much. It just, I don't know, it just feels when it's real dice rolling on a table, I feel differently about it than video dice. It's just my paranoia. I can't trust computers unless they're robot umps. But I will tell you this: slot machines are always incredible. It's a great way. I am a big, of course, Lotus Land guy myself. So make sure to head to Gila Rivers and Casinos and check out all the great gaming that they have, all of the wonderful options they have for dining, and so much more. Let them show you what next level is all about. You do you at Gila River Resorts and Casinos. Visit play@gila.com for more details. Our very own Zach Gallen wrote a pretty incredible article for Players Tribune, giving you a little bit of a run for your money.
Yes.
Not being the best writer in the clubhouse any longer. I'm sorry about that. But
they've got the Players Tribune. They're not just, the players aren't writing all these words, Derek. There's an editing process here.
Listen to you, you monster.
I'm just
this was ghostwritten by somebody.
Insecure
I know.
That, a major league starting pitcher could be, a much better writer than me. But this is a very, very cool story at the Players Tribune.
It absolutely is. He talked about the Diamondbacks postseason run. And he said his favorite part of the run was seeing fans get behind this team. And there's something about that makes me a little emotional, because I think Christian Walker addressed it a couple of times, and there was some negative feedback in regards to it or whatever. Like, it's kind of a weird attitude where here in the Valley towards the Diamondbacks, there's almost the like, well, win and we'll support you kind of, attitude towards this team.
Yeah, right.
Whereas when you play for other franchises in baseball, there is just an undying love of you.
Yeah, there's a
good
little
or
more
bad.
loyalty.
Yeah, through the good times, through the bad times, all of that, right? But like, I would have to say that I can understand, because based on his time here in the Valley, this was probably the most support that this team has ever seen. I think it does go beyond the winning, though. I think it goes into this year's team had guys that people were truly fans of. We started to love these players on this team. And Zach Gallen is one of those guys, right? But it also goes on to Corbin Carroll, Alec Thomas, Jerry P., Gabby, all these guys. Tommy Pham, the amount of jumping I did for Paul Sewald every time Ryan Thompson came out, just going crazy for tea time. Like, there was just things about this team that I felt like this year's squad was different from even successful teams in the past for the Arizona Diamondbacks. It's young guys. It's guys that are going to be here for a while. And I feel like the support for this team did shift, and it goes beyond just the fact that they made the run that they did.
Yeah, this is how the story started. I just have to read this because it really is so good. Zach said, there were a lot of cool things about the 2023 Arizona Diamondbacks run to the World Series, but I have a pretty strong opinion on what was the coolest. It wasn't taking care of business in Milwaukee. It wasn't coming back from 0-2 against the Phillies and winning Game 7 at their place. It wasn't Marte barreling up everything he saw or 4 home runs in 1 inning. Honestly, it wasn't even sweeping the Dodgers. Those things were all amazing, don't get me wrong. If you ask me, the best thing about this run was the pure joy our fans got to experience, the looks on everyone's faces, the energy around the city, the roar that we'd hear at Chase when we were stringing hits together, or when Mert or Fott or Ginkel needed to make a big pitch. It was unlike anything I've ever experienced, and it made me so proud to be a part of this organization, this city, this community. I won't forget it as long as I live.
Sign the contract.
Yeah,
Right now. Right now.
I know that's what everyone is thinking.
I'll draw it up.
I didn't win on this card, but you can have this quarter. I don't give a shit. I will give you anything I have for this man. Jesse, he went on to say, we didn't win it all, obviously, and I hate that. But what we did do was still pretty fucking sick. And it really felt like we did it together. Yeah. And man, if that doesn't get you choked up about this team, I don't know what will, right? Like, this is a guy who honestly is like one of the more cerebral people in the clubhouse, and at the same time also one of the most laid back, right? Like, so for his emotions to come out like this, and for him to say that, for seeing that reaction was his favorite part, like, that's amazing. You know what I mean? That's an amazing feeling. And obviously we know the contract stuff is what it is. We know that the outlook on that isn't great, but you get the feeling that this city and this team means something more to Zach Gallen, and that should be something that this front office is pursuing and trying to keep here for the long term.
100%.
And there's no doubt about that. Obviously, I'm just preaching to the choir here, but the way the story ended, Jesse, tear.
Yeah, it was pretty good stuff at the end too. I guess I'll just read it again. Zach said, before this year ever I can speak, I promise. This is what I do for a living, apparently. Before this year, ever since I arrived in 2019, there hasn't been much for people to cheer about, and that's on us. We didn't play up to our potential, and our fans weren't happy about it, rightfully so. I wouldn't have been happy either as a fan, but that was a different time, and we're never going back to it. It's a whole new era of D-backs baseball as far as I'm concerned. I can't wait to see where things go next. See you all in March.
Give me a brick wall. I need a brick wall right now. Damon, find me a brick wall. Oh my God.
I think, if you're a fan of this team and you didn't have like a deep emotional reaction to reading this story, I don't really know what to tell you.
Check your pulse.
Check
your pulse.
This is everything that, if you're a Diamondbacks fan, this is everything that you want to see out of like your frontline starting pitcher.
Except one thing.
What are we missing?
Jesse, when he said D-backs baseball, he used an apostrophe.
That's, you know what? I wasn't going to go there, Derek, but if we have
no
to.
hyphen, Zach. Let's talk to your editor, pal. We got to talk about proper. What is it?
That's
AP
on the
framing?
Players Tribune.
Yeah, that
all
is on
right,
the Players Tribune.
that's their job. We know that Zach wouldn't have made a mistake that egregious.
Absolutely, absolutely not.
But yeah, he also in this story, he definitely plays into the narrative of the D-backs being the underdog. And, he talks about looking at Torey Lovello during the Dodgers series and, saying, hey, these people don't think we belong here. And Torey agreeing with it and being like, yeah, they don't think we belong here. And just the satisfaction of time and time again, just being able to overcome those expectations that people had for this team. It's clear that the Diamondbacks as a team embrace that. And clearly Zach Gallen was right at the center of that, embracing those narratives throughout the postseason and taking the Diamondbacks much farther than they were expected to go.
So what kind of fan energy are we bringing next year?
I mean, you have to think like we've seen this in the past where when the Diamondbacks make the postseason, it feels like the next year is really when you feel it, where there's a different energy from opening day as the season gets going. And I have to expect that that's what will happen in 2024. Like on opening day, I think Chase Field is probably going to be rocking a little bit more than it has been in years past.
Yeah.
The D-backs are going to be putting up an NL pennant banner, right? Like you have to think that people are going to rally around this team in a way that they haven't before. And Zach Gallen is certainly counting on that and hoping for that. And I think fans will probably deliver. It might not still be the crowds you see at other stadiums around the league. I don't think the D-backs are going to be selling out every night or anything, but it should be noticeably better than what we've seen in years past.
A big help. Connor and me are like this. I was just going to say a big help to that is $300 season tickets. That $299 ballpark pass is a reflection of this team trying to get more people out to watch it, not trying to make money off of the fans, which is something that, and rightfully so, some fans have accused the Phoenix Suns of doing ever since they became successful, ever since they made their finals appearance and have become a team that now has been making the playoffs regularly. Ticket prices on average at the Suns game are higher than league average. They are one of the higher end now, and they've continued to go up over the last few years. Meanwhile, the Diamondbacks are continue to be the best value in baseball, and they have done so on the back of a season where they had tremendous success. So I think that shows that they want us as fans out there. They want people in that building, and they don't care if it's only going to cost essentially $2.50 per game or whatever for you to go to a baseball game. They want you out there. They want you rooting for this team. And of course, there are benefits still to, the franchise of us eating and parking and doing all of that other stuff that we spend money on when we're there. But to get people in the door, to get fans out there watching this team, I think is a great move by this team. And again, this is the kind of feeling that the fan support creates in a player. It's hard to remember that because we think that it's all about dollars and cents with them. We think it's all about kind of like being like, guns for hire and going whoever has the most money. But people want to be, they want to play for a franchise. They want to play for an organization that has tremendous fans and tremendous fan support. And I love the fact that Zach here is admitting that this organization at times isn't the type of organization you should be happy with in the past, right? But
sure,
I think that the fact of the matter is there's been times in the past where the team could have spent money like they did this offseason and still not have been any closer to the goal of being a successful team because they just had still too much to build on. This year's team was so close. So for them to go out and make the changes, the upgrades that they have this offseason really shows that they are trying to jump on the success that they had last year and make things happen this year. I love that tweet that shows the Diamondbacks right now are the third highest spender in Major League Baseball this offseason. I can't get enough of that. And that's something that we should all remember when it comes to supporting Zach Gallen and his teammates in 2024.
65 days until spring training starts.
Let's
Derek.
go.
That's still the first game. Pitchers and catchers is even less than that.
That's,
I don't know the exact
February
date
14th, 15th.
Yeah,
Valentine's Day.
We're less than 2 months away from pitchers and catchers reporting. So Yeah, it's amazing how short the offseason is when you go as far as the Diamondbacks went.
I booked myself a cruise right at the end, there, Jesse, just because I know that's the end of my social life is like 3 months long, and then it goes away. But I'm gonna have fun in the meantime. But we thank you guys, of course, for checking us out, and of course, we implore you to check out our friends at Circle K whenever you need to fill up. When you need something in your tank or you need something in the gas tank, make sure to stop by Circle K. Right now, you can save 25 cents per gallon on your first 5 fill-ups if you join the Circle K Inner Circle Rewards program, which you can do so for free by downloading the Circle K app today. Terms and conditions apply at participating locations. Visit CircleK.com for details. But like I said, you'll get that 25 cents per gallon off your first 5 fill-ups, which is very helpful during this time of the year. You also have, you'll save 3 cents per gallon every day after that. And right now, they have their 31 days of Circle K in the Inner Circle app where you can win free snacks, drinks, free prizes, and there's also weekly entries into a grand prize. So don't miss out on that opportunity and get yourself some cheap gas right now. Also, when it comes to this time of the year, I've talked a bit about how stressful it could be. Sports teams can stress you out, like the Suns are stressing us all out right now.
Yeah.
Or they could just make you sad the way the Cardinals makes us sad. But right now, picture this. It's you on the couch, your favorite sports team on the TV, a big bag of OGs in your hands, and of course, that's a winning combination, win or lose, right? So with a variety of bold flavors, OG's gummies are a slam dunk for your taste buds. Plus, you can customize your experience based on the desired effect, strength, taste, whether you're looking for a sleep edition gummy, happy balance. They have all sorts of combinations that will help you enjoy whatever event or maybe get away from some stressful events at the end. But right now, I will recommend my favorite is the Pegs RSO. They're raspberry and orange. They're Rick Simpson oil. They are extremely effective, and you should definitely check them out at a dispensary near you. To learn more about OG's gummies and where you can find them, head on over to ogsbrands.com. Well, Andrew McCutchen off the list. We got some more guys coming off this list. Diamondbacks don't have a lot of time to find their DH, so hopefully we get an announcement. They signed JD Martinez very soon, so I can just lose my shit. But
what are we going to tier rank next, Eric? That was kind of fun. I feel like we need to make this in every show. Yeah. Okay. There we go. Yeah. Yes.
Semi Zavala, come back. Anyway, we thank you guys, of course, for stopping by. You can follow us on Twitter.
Mitch Garver S tier backup catcher.
S tier backup catcher. Yes, I'll agree to that. You can follow us on Twitter. I'm at @cap_caveman with a K. Jesse is at Jesse N. Friedman. The People's producer Damon is at Damon Dog. That's DAWG. We are Damon's dogs. Bark, bark. Of course, you can follow our show at PHNX_DBacks, but all roads do lead to @PHNX_sports on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. We appreciate you guys stopping by. We thank you so much for your time. And remember, kids, baseball is fun, but it's so much more fun when you rank Mitch Garver appropriately.
We all silly like the mayor.